Hi, what you're about to see is one of the classes from my Great Product Manager, a practical product management course from Udemy. Some of the classes on Udemy are already free, but it's not too easy to find them, so I decided to upload them to YouTube as well, so you can see how the course looks like and decide whether you want to enroll or not based on that. If you're interested in course, the link is down below, and write a comment if you're interested in a discount coupon. So, see you in the course and enjoy the class. Okay, I've mentioned A/B testing several times already, and some of the advice might now appear again, but bear with me, it's a very important subject and it's worth to reiterate some of the information about it. This is probably the most important lecture of this entire course, so pay the most attention you can. A/B tests are your primary tool to verify any product hypothesis you can think of. By definition, A/B testing is simply a process where you change the product in some way and provide some of the users with the changed version and some of the users with the original one, and you will see which version gives you more value, better KPIs. There can be different numbers of variants in such a test, different proportions of users, and it's really up to you and your BA team to decide. Typically, by the book, you will have 2 variants and split the user base 50-50. I would say that you don't want to have more than 4 groups, because the more you have, the less informative the results will be, and there is greater chance that the information will not be enough and it will be contaminated with too much variance or statistical error. A/B test can mean different things. Sometimes it's simply a minor change to the flow, like with the red dot for error help, but it can be the whole sections being turned on and off for different testing groups. It can be as benign as different colors for different buttons. But in the end, you are observing something like 2 parallel dimensions, where in one dimension the things stayed the same, and in other they changed. And you can see which of those parallel universes is operating better, and in the end decide which one gets the Thanos treatment and is the 50% that's gone, and which one is remaining and becomes the dominating version. As we mentioned before, this is also a great tool to know, or at least estimate, the impact of the new feature project when added to the product. So you can then calculate how much improvement did you introduce over your tenure. Apart from that, if there is a major misunderstanding between your team or you and your stakeholders, you can always call an A/B test to verify whether your point of view is correct or the stakeholders are right. Of course, A/B testing means additional dev time, and it's, again, common sense. Maybe some changes are too trivial and too small to A/B test them. So seriously, never have a policy that you A/B test everything. Once you release an A/B test, it has to be strictly monitored. So as mentioned, make sure that the dashboard is always ready there to monitor the A/B test progress and be able to turn it on and off whenever you can. Make this part of the testing and don't release an A/B test that you are not sure is well monitored in terms of KPI improvements and that can't be easily turned off or 100% on if things go south or they go, wow, that's great. Apart from that, you will always need to decide on the period of the A/B test. You want to avoid holidays and you don't want to have it running alongside a different A/B test. But again, common sense applies. Maybe those two A/B tests are so far apart in the system that there is barely any chance of interaction, and if any, it's acceptable risk. But then you get two A/B tests at the same time, twice the information. So it's a balance game, really. Other idea you can have, if you have a product that has thousands, hundreds of thousands of users, or maybe millions of users, is that you take a significant part of your audience and give it a single A/B test. I mean, a single change. Then other group gets a different change, not related to the first one. And then another one gets a third change that's also not related to the additional two ones, but still make sure that there is also a group that didn't get any changes as the control one, the one that you measure against. The typical A/B test will last from 1 to 4 weeks, but in my experience I could see that the results were there after around 3 days and they wouldn't change much until the end of the test. But you also don't want to rush to judgment, and there are many things that may happen that impact your A/B test, but you don't want to rush to judgment. You can leave it for a week or two anyways, unless the results are so good that not releasing the feature to all users would be losing potential money that you could gain. However, make sure to run it as short as possible. If it can be 1 week, make it 1 week and schedule the next test. The maximum the number of meaningful A/B tests, the greatest the knowledge gained. The most you know about the changes in your product. When deciding the audience, as mentioned, you will probably go with 50-50 or whatever the proportional split is between the different versions of the change plus the control group. But as even mentioned in the last class, if the change is very risky, just start with a very small percent of users and grow it over time. That's also the safest way to release any update. When you release it to say 3% of the users and you look whether there are any weird bugs or errors happening, and if it's okay, just grow it to 100%. You may also decide to test on a specific segment of users, in which case remember to also A/B test only within this segment. So it's not a good A/B test of segmented users if you just test the segmented group and you don't have any control group to compare with. Okay, so we decided the period, we decided the audience, we have the dashboard ready, we have it tested. Remember to take a look at the results every day in the morning just to start your day. That's really like motivating thing if you see everything is going according to plan. And if there's anything wrong, you have a lot of time to react and make sure to get it back on the right track. A/B test has to be stellar. If there's something wrong with tracking or it works with the first day, the more it goes on like this, the longer you have to wait to actually reboot it correctly. So don't lose time and money. If you see something wrong with A/B test, react as if the product was down and burning. This level of critical fix needed in this case. But the numbers will eventually come in and they will be final after a completed test. What I suggest is that you are the first person to analyze the numbers, and you'll probably do that just by looking at the dashboard daily. You'll know what's the impact, whether the A/B test was successful or not, but you don't want to spend too much time digging into the greatest nuances of the test that might unravel something deeply hidden. If you have business analysts that can help you with that, just let them do their job and you will just await the final confirmation of your preliminary analysis. They can look deeper into the data, they can think about aspects you wouldn't have time for, and it's always good for them to verify your initial claims. If the experiment failed, try to understand why. There are those things called fallout reports that show you the user journey from one point to another, because you may find that the A/B test failed because there was a bug or some element of the A/B test was designed incorrectly and blew the whole experiment. Maybe the overall direction and the product change is a good idea, but it was executed poorly. That's something you need to get from the A/B test. On the other hand, if you are super successful, also try to understand why you are super successful so you can replicate it later in a different initiative or grow on what you already discovered. Knowledge is the greatest asset you can pull from A/B tests, whether successful or failed. Okay, the second best, the big rise of the value of your product is probably greater than the knowledge you gained. However, with the knowledge, you can then build upon and design different changes or product initiatives that build upon the knowledge you've gained from any A/B test. Final piece of advice that I believe already appeared is to make sure that your team is aware on how the A/B test is going. If you have your preliminary analysis, you see that it's going great, let them know. Not formally, no email, just mention it on any meeting or visit them at the desk and say, guys, good work, it's going the way we wanted it. That will boost their morale and will make their day. So yeah, that's what I had about A/B testing. Let's move to the final class of this chapter.